All right, we are recording. So before I forget, this is session 1 of a playtest of Thirsty Sword Lesbians, a game by April Kit Walsh of Gay Spaceship Games. You can find the game at thirstyswordlesbians.com, and it's being produced by Evil Hat Productions. So thank you both for doing that. It's a fun game. Oh, and this is a playtest version 0.6, if that's relevant to anything. And this gaming group is organized through the Gauntlet, a online community of RPG games and players. I am Kyle Heitman, he, him. You're welcome to go around and introduce yourselves. Oh, and I have an itch at Iterate Onwards on itch. I made a game called Eldritch Love about thirsty cultists who doom the world. It's kind of fun.
Didn't I play that with you?
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, I did. It was about deep frying things. That's what I remember.
And butter.
Yeah,
lots
so much butter. In places butter should not be.
Mostly on Puckett's character.
Butter shouldn't be.
Was all on your character, Puckett, anyway. So.
All right, Sabine, you're next in the first in the character keeper. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. My name is Sabine. I use any pronouns, and should I say what I'm going to play right now, or should I say something different? I don't know.
Feel free to do a quick introduction now. We can get more into the characters later.
I think I will. I am playing Dr. Parallel Phlogiston, who is a spooky witch with curious eyes, mechanics clothes, and a steampunk sword, and Dr. Phlogiston doesn't care about pronouns, have an eerie companion, which is called Propel, and it's a tiny, not so tiny, it's a steampunk robot, basically. It runs on steam power, and occasionally makes weird noises, and helps with projects, which is important. And I'm stopped talking now, because people are weirded out when Dr. Phlogiston is talking.
All right. Puckett, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Puckett. I'll be playing Knight Adria of... Oh, God, what did I call it? 1 second here as I pull it up. The Order of the Queen's Rose. I anticipate that there will be far less butter tonight, and she is, as far as I know, not related in any way to Guy Fieri. So that ought to at least make things a little bit more sane for you this evening, Kyle. Moving right along.
I am Ferret, also known as Sawyer. I use he, him pronouns for ease, but any pronouns said with respect are fine by me. I will be playing Princess Magnolia Nebula, the Chosen. She is, well, we will get more into that, but look-wise, she has knowing eyes, the garb of someone ready for battle, and an ancient sword. And to those in the know, I picked the Damascus blade from Battle Angel Alita. The manga, not the movie, but that is the kind of nerd I am.
All right. Chris.
Yes.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Okay, there we go. I'm Chris, they or he. I'm going to be playing Taylor Luthon, they, them pronouns, who is a seeker, who is a corporate scion and defector from decadence type. Yeah.
Great. And Bethany, did you have a chance to decide on which playbook you were doing?
Yeah, I think I like your idea of playing an extremely different seeker and like seeing how far apart we can get these playbooks or the characters from the same playbook. Hi, I'm Bethany. They, them pronouns, or as Ferret said, any said with respect, are fine. And I am playing Emil, the seeker, who is from a quaint, pleasant, idyllic world that when they show pictures of it, they have happy music in the background. It's it's like that for some people.
All right, nice. And the series of sessions we'll be playing, I have titled "Gays in Space," where you serve as the noble Space Bloods in defense of the Space Queen, recently elected leader of the Space Republic. Gotta go to space.
Wait, is there any space in it?
We might be able to fit some in, maybe.
Are we far away or are we nearby?
We're in a galaxy an indeterminate distance and time from our own.
Far away, so close, huh?
Okay. So, it looks like most people have the basics of their characters set up, so we can go through and introduce the characters more thoroughly, and work on the, introduce the backstory, work on those, there are some relationship questions that tie us all together. But just wanted to catch us up on the, just make sure we're all on the same page for the setting. This is just what's in the cats. So the Space Queen, recently elected Space Queen Rose Nebula, is struggling with challenges throughout the realm. There are, tyrants seizing control of isolated areas, stations, colonies, growing pirate fleets, noble corps, which are the worst combinations of noble families and megacorps, and a growing movement is like, hey, this is complicated. Let's just fight a big war to straighten all this out. So yeah, that's a nice little combination right there. Who would like to introduce their character first?
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out where I would find the relationship questions.
Oh, I've got those here. So
Oh, okay.
if they're not on the playbook, I've got a list here.
Okay, cool. I mean, I can introduce, I've already have introduced Dr. Peril Phlogiston anyway. As a spooky witch, they have the central conflict in navigating the pressures to conform versus their own desires or those of the monster's friends. And I think that Dr. Phlogiston is really trying to find out what about the eldritch beings that live between the atoms and the spaces and the wavelengths, because they are there, and Dr. Phlogiston can tell you all about that. I think she is pretty much, she likes to talk, but maybe she likes to talk over people's heads a lot.
All right. So as the, a lot of tabs. Okay, as the spooky witch, your relationship questions are, which of the group thinks you're not at all weird, or you're not all that weird, rather? They get to take a string on you.
Should we first introduce all characters and
Yeah.
come back around for relationship?
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
think
point. Let's
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't mind going next, even though Puckett is next in, because I had a wonderful idea to change my destiny all of a sudden, thanks to your mention of noble cores.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so I am the Princess Magnolia Nebula, the adopted eldest daughter, but furthest from the throne, to the new Rose Dynasty, or Republic, I'm sorry. Things changed so much during the overthrowing. And Princess Magnolia Nebula is beautiful, daring, gracious, and destined to win the heart of a tyrannical monarch mogul.
Nice, good to know.
Which I imagine is like the inverse of Princess Diana, but in space. And very capitalistic.
So, Mojo?
I was actually thinking some like vaguely sinister name, but that was back when they were a space pirate, so we may have to change it to more a like corporate PR driven name for them.
Baron Harkonnen.
Oh no, this is definitely a woman. This is going to be a progressive Mogul monarch. I think I like the idea that it is Dame Diamanda, and but I believe my mother knows that I believe I can redeem Dame Diamanda. I believe in the depths of her soul that she is truly worthy to join the Space Republic. But my mother has forbidden me to be with her in a relationship. And thus, I am on a mission with my group of pals. Yeah, and move-wise, I have taken the one where I can be witty and fierce with words to throw shade. And also, whenever you defy danger for me, you mark XP. Whenever I'm captured, I mark XP and get to ask a question about my captor.
Nice. Puckett, would you like to go next?
Oh, sure. So I'll be playing Knight Adria, Order of the Queen's Rose, using the Devoted Playbook. She has the skills or the moves Last Stand, What's Best for Them, Fanatical Self-Sacrifice, Toxic Devotion, and Lay on Hands. And when she was a child, she was orphaned at a very young age and was selected for training as a knight because, well, there were no guardians around to object to such things. Knight training is usually dangerous, it's occasionally deadly, and while Adria believes in the ideals that the knights are sworn to uphold, she still struggles with them, particularly celibacy, obedience, and showing mercy whenever it is requested.
Nice, fun. Chris or Bethany?
I can go. So I'm playing Taylor Luthor, who is the scion of the current head of the board of directors of East Rim Incorporated, one of the larger and more powerful noble corps. And I am a seeker who is defying sort of the rules and expectations set by the noble corp in order to seek my own truth. And because I both needed powerful friends to help get me free of the noble corp, and I had no better idea what to do with my life, I have joined up in the this guard.
Yeah, that came through.
Okay, good.
All right, Bethany, have you had a chance? We can talk through your character if you would like help with setting them up.
So I have to move my screens around because the camera or the StreamYard screen is directly covering this one. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so I'm playing Emil. I think they, them pronouns, but I think that's a placeholder. The Seeker, who is from I don't want to say space Amish, but that kind of very pastoral, isolated, very strict roles, both social hierarchy, gender, every other kind of role you can think of. And it's very into mindless obedience and getting along and not standing out in any way. So I think they have left pretty recently and come here. I think they have left recently enough that they haven't yet seen the flaws in their new community. they feel kind of betrayed by their old community, and their new community is just so much better, and everyone here is so nice to them, and it's perfect, and nothing could ever go wrong. I don't expect that to last more than about 5 minutes.
Nice, nice. Okay, so I have gone ahead and posted the relationship questions down in your relationship sections of the Character Keeper. So we can go through and answer those. And, right, one other question I wanted to add. This is not part of the normal character creation thing, but I thought it'd be fun. What is one thing your character has done that either won them renown or criticism in your service as a space blade? So just think about that as you consider the other questions. All right. So who would like to answer the relationship questions first?
I mean, I can start.
All right.
Who thinks you're not all that weird? I think that would be Emil, because they have no real conception about what weird actually is, and maybe they don't know a lot about me anyway.
You're all weird to me. None of you is more weird than the other, I don't think.
That's okay. That's I accept that logic. Yes. Whom have you watched secretly? I mean, watched secretly. I think that would be the princess, because she's clearly important, and I really have to know what she's up to so I can protect her better. And she always gets kidnapped, right? You have to watch her.
Yes, that is perfectly fine.
You have to observe her. And then I have who's your touchstone for what normal is? I think that's probably Knight Adria, because I'm sorry, Taylor is just from these corporate guys, and I have been told that is not what normal is. So I think it's got to be Knight Adria, because she's a knight, and I'm apparently a knight too, or something like that. So yeah, that's probably what normal is, which supposedly is good. So yay. And what has won me renown or criticism? I think I developed some sort of weapon that goes through the ether, for want of a better word. But the problem with it is that if you use it, you get haunted a lot. It's very effective, but it also comes with this side effect. And some people say it's not that bad, and others are screaming in a very, very comfortable place. So yeah, I won't do that again. But it is effective. Sorry.
Sounds good. Make sure to make a note of who you get strings on and who gets strings on you. Okay. Next up, we've got... Actually, anyone want to volunteer to go next?
I think I have mine worked out, if that helps. So as far as who reminds me of home, Adria actually reminds me of home a lot, because she has this massive self-sacrificing vibe and somewhat toxic relationship with her superiors, and that is 100% familiar. Especially Commandment 3, there is no priority above the Noble Corp. And then next up, the most outrageous or unusual of my new companions is definitely Parallel. No one like that back in the Noble Corp. It's a very sort of buttoned up, productivity-oriented environment. And then,
But I am productive and I have buttons.
oh, I'm sure you do, but you do your productivity in a way that isn't like hyper-structured corporatism, and so that looks completely different. It's probably actually more productive than the incredibly restrictive environment, but it looks very different. Oh, and then the third one, my model for local customs is Magnolia. I'm the scion of the head of a noble corp, and she's the scion of my new faction. So clearly, I should follow her, do what she does.
To the clubs.
And then could you repeat the full question about renown or criticism?
What is one thing you have done that has won you renown or criticism in your service as a space blade?
I can't think of any like particularly awesome incident, but I think there's definitely a sort of by the book stickler reputation that gets a lot of criticism. This is like, swashbuckling hero types, not about paperwork.
If I may
Or
suggest
rules.
something,
Yes.
maybe you have renown in your new faction, but criticism in the old because you stood in a way of a deal that went our way and not your noble corp's way.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty solidly cast out.
Okay.
So the Noble Corp wasn't going to have any good feelings for me anyway. My very existence violates one of the commandments. So, but yeah, I'm fine with the idea of the Noble Corp also hates me for making a deal go well for the organization.
Sounds good. And yeah, that nice commandment that there are only men and women.
Yep.
Which the Luthon Megacorp, sorry, the
East Rim?
yes, the East Rim Noble Corp run by Luthon believes that, but the Republic itself, the Queen is very gender inclusive of all types. So, yay! Let's see. Next volunteer. I don't think Ferret or Puckett. I don't think you've gone.
I'll volunteer. So this is a little interesting, and I, if you don't agree with this interpretation, I'm totally cool with changing it. But the first question is, if another PC is an object of your devotion, give them 2 strings on you. And I think probably the closest to that would be Princess Magnolia as a representative of the Space Republic. Does that seem reasonable?
That seems very reasonable.
Right.
Sounds
So
good.
take 2. Who looks out for you even when you don't look out for yourself? Bethany, are you okay with it being a meal?
Yeah, sure.
All right, just like seeing, hey, this person doesn't really, they kind of throw themselves into things, but they don't do self-care. So, and then, let's see, last one. I saved someone from a terrible fate, take a string on them. I think that's got to be Magnolia.
Well, since I've already been chosen, maybe you
It could have been anybody.
yeah.
Ooh.
Like I can see like
What if it was Luthen? That's how you got out of it.
Ah, I like it.
All right.
okay, and I'm ready to go. Oh, the renown criticism. Sorry.
Puckett, did you have an idea for that?
Um, I'm not sure if this is renown, criticism, or both, but I am regarded amongst the knights as the most headstrong and willful, and the most likely to unintentionally or intentionally violate tenets of the order. So, I mean, if you think the order is a good thing, that's a criticism. And if you don't think the order is necessarily so great, you can see it as bucking against an oppressive society. How's that sound?
I like it. Sounds good.
Yeah, and I can go next. So I think, who believes in the importance of your destiny? And I can see this as either being Emil or Adria. Emil sort of as like, you know, just believe like, you have a destiny? Oh, that's amazing. Of course. Like, that sounds cool. But Adira with more like it could really aid the Republic if this marriage or this love goes well, or it's redemption arc. Because I think I can also see a meal for another question. I think I can see a meal for the next one as well.
I think the next one fits better. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm okay with believing in the importance of your destiny.
Yeah. And I mean, I may think you believe in the, heroic parts of my destiny. You may just be trying to save me from the tragic bits. Yeah. So you take a string on me. Oh no, I take a string on you.
Yeah. So you now have 3 strings on me.
Yeah. Emil, you make me feel like an ordinary person. You gain a string on me.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
And who is just as important to me as my destiny? Well, don't tell anyone, but there's this really cute girl who's been like checking me out from the fringes. I don't think she notices that I notice her, but it's Dr. Phlogiston.
All right.
Yeah,
Not sure Phlogiston is a girl, but
yeah.
I think
Well,
Neither is Phlogiston, so that's fine. That's up to definition, actually. Interesting question.
yeah. So take 2
Need to do a
strings.
study. Need to do a study. Take 2 strings, yes.
And renown. I think her renown is more behind her now. Like the thing she did to gain renown was before she was a space blade. That's why she's like the princess. But I think like the criticism since then is that she's talked more than she's done. She is like, she boasts about being impressive. She boasts about this destiny, but what is she doing about it?
I like it.
That's good.
Bethany, are you ready to do your questions?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So, who reminds you of home? Give them a string on you. I could honestly see any of them being that in different ways. Probably Taylor, but it could also be Adria. Let me see my other options. Okay. Who is your model for local customs? That's probably Adria. So I think Taylor reminds me of home, and gets a string on me. And Adria is my model for local customs. We each get a string on each other. And the most outrageous of my new companions. I think that's probably Dr. Phlogiston. Phlogiston. Or it could be Princess Magnolia. They're both pretty outrageous. Let's see. I don't have strength. Okay.
I'd say since we're already tied, tie yourself to Phlogiston.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. In which case, I get a string on them.
I don't know if that really works because it might work because I have that you're the one who thinks that I'm not all that weird.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So I don't know if that. I mean, it could track that you think, oh, this is outrageous, but I think, oh, she thinks, or they think, I'm normal. But I don't know if that tracks. If you want.
No, and you're right. And I don't believe in Magnolia's destiny. So maybe I think she's just being outrageous. That's part of her outrageousness is to, follow this destiny.
You believe I'm boasting too? No.
Yeah, sorry. It's part of your renown or criticism, I guess. Cool.
All right.
And we each have a string.
So that leaves you the model for the local customs, right?
That's Adria. Adria, which is it?
Oh, right. Okay.
Adria.
Adria. Hey, sup?
Renowned criticism, right? Wow. Okay. I haven't been here long, so what have I done in the short time I've been here? I mean, I somehow became a space blade in the short time I've been here, so must have done something to do that.
You've got a relatively high daring. Maybe you just won some sort of tournament or contest.
Yeah, maybe they needed, she needed another space blade, so she had some kind of, contest. I was there. Or saved the princess. And that would have, that just shortcut, don't even, there's not even an interview phase for that. So was it you or is it one of your sisters?
I am fine it being me and, or it being one of my sisters, and that's how we met, like, finally, it's not me, it's one of them.
Somebody else. Yeah, I mean, you're furthest from the throne. Clearly somebody else has got to get kidnapped once in a while, right?
Yeah.
And someone else already saved you, so okay, cool. I rescued your sister.
I think if I may, this is Hyacinth Nebula.
Cool.
Nice.
I will try to restrict myself to no more than 3 keeping up appearances jokes.
I don't think I get that.
The main character is named Hyacinth. It's a British comedy from the 90s. I grew up weird.
Okay.
Don't feel bad. I think we all did.
Yeah. Would you like a little help coming up with your other commandments for a meal?
Yeah, let's see. I kind of stopped in the middle of doing that, didn't I? Yeah. I think, yeah. Like I have a general sense of them, but not like any specific wording. These options here are good. Maybe don't get involved with
Stay in your lane?
That's a good, yeah. Yeah. I like that.
I imagine it's like we say, like space Amish. It's almost like they have an Occam's razor commandment, like the simplest is the best.
Yeah, something like that. I be grateful. Always be grateful for something. Like, I think basically their attitude is no matter what's wrong, you have to like pretend to be happy. At least if you're not actually happy, at least pretend. You should be happy, damn it. But so like, yeah, be grateful no matter what for everything. Respect authority, smile, stay in your lane, and I think something about conformity.
We can leave the last one for later.
Yeah, something about like
don't make
conformity and harmony.
don't make a show of yourself or something like that.
Tested methods are the best.
I think I'm gonna be like
Don't make a spectacle of yourself.
Not
Or-
quite that, but like something about like be something about like harmony and like, you know, don't
Don't
rock the boat, you know, or don't don't
Try to
Don't-
fit in.
Don't express strong emotions.
no, because you can be really happy. That's allowed.
Don't express disruptive emotions.
Just don't do anything to disrupt. Yeah, don't
Remain harmonious at all times.
don't disturb your community. How about that?
I like it. Okay, so I think we've got the characters set up. Now there is a lines and veils tab. I'm not sure if you've gone through already, but you have the option of actually. Is everyone familiar with lines and veils? All right, I thought so. You have the option of going through and adding things. We can. I'd like to get into the story proper. I'll be taking a break at around in about 20 minutes, so feel free to add in the notes or raise any questions about that then. And also, there is a little table on that page for you can signal if you're comfortable with your character having romances with other PCs or NPCs. Just so we can, avoid any awkwardness if you'd like. And by the way, if you feel like enticing just is not the move entice just is not something your character would do, the game offered a optional rule instead to befriend, where instead of basically trying to turn someone on, you just are cool and befriend them and are nice. You can see that on the moves tab right next to entice. Just if anyone would like to do that instead, just putting options out there.
I have something. I mean, you've put torture in there, and I'm fine with the whale torture, but I'm not fine with torture by the PCs. I don't want to have that. I don't like that. I
Absolutely
don't feel comfortable with that. So I don't know how to put it in the list, or should I just add a line? I can add a line. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, just do a line. I'm cool with omitting torture. And do you want to put a line on there about cannibalism as well? Not that I think we'll run into it, but
Well, you never know with these keeping up appearances banquets.
Yeah. Okay, I'll
get all White Glove Society up in here.
New Vegas deep cut.
Okay.
It's not a deep cut. That's just Fallout New Vegas.
Okay, fair.
But it balanced well with keeping up appearances, I have to say.
Okay. So I think everyone in this group is familiar with Powered by the Apocalypse games. This one appears to draw some inspiration from Masks and Monster Hearts. So if you're familiar with one of those, you'll probably be familiar with most of the rules. So I'm going to omit going through the basics of the rules. If any question comes up about anything, don't be afraid to ask. And yeah, this is a playtest thing, so don't hesitate if anything doesn't make sense or would like some clarification. And for safety norms, yes, we're going to be using the X card, lines and veils as we discussed. And also script change, so we can, rewind, redo some things, fast forward if you don't want to get into detail about stuff, or just full on stop and discuss things if necessary. I will point out that everyone in the party, every PC will get an extra experience point if one of you invokes a safety tool at some point this session, limit 1 per session. That includes just asking for a check-in or a bio break, so don't hesitate about that. If when you gotta go, you gotta go. Okay, so jumping into the session. You 5 noble space blades have been called up by your immediate supervisor. Roan Alessandra. On the NPC tabs, I've put up some. You can see some pictures there. They don't all have pictures, and we can definitely add some more NPCs as things go on. We probably will. Roan Alessandra, title Sen. I came up with some gender-neutral feudal titles because I'm a nerd and thought it would be interesting. Sen is the gender-neutral sir. Sen Roan is a former Space Blade, but they're past their prime age-wise and now have gone to a management position. Your direct supervisor and the Chamberlain of Queen Rose. So, as you all gather, there, Roan sort of looks between right, we're here. The Queen will be here shortly. She's got some kind of mission for you. It'll be interesting. Not the most covert thing you've come across, but try not to be too splashy, okay? And as they do that, they give significant looks to, well, basically all of you, except Emil and Taylor. Dr. Parallel, Knight Adria, Princess Magnolia, you've all been some splashy, and Roan is like, tone it down this time.
I have not been splashy. Every drop of blood spilled was necessary. Not my fault that they didn't want to cooperate.
This time, let's try to keep the blood to a minimum. Let's keep the blood inside the bodies,
Last time was the minimum.
I could build a machine that would mop up after us so there wouldn't be so much blood on the floor.
Ooh, could it be like reverse vacuum so it puts the blood back in them?
I'm not sure if that... Yes, that's an interesting idea. I'll have to think about that.
My apologies, Sen. I will take a command and make sure that nothing untoward happens. But you do know, if the call to action calls, and I think she pulls out her blade, and it is just a gigantic butterfly knife as a sword, flips it open, we must heed the call for the Queen.
I swear.
Right. So only toward things are going to be happening.
Roan mutters to himself, I swear in my day, space blades were more reasonable. When did this change? When did this change? But the Queen will be here shortly. I have other things to deal with.
How shortly? I can't hold this pose forever.
In the Queen's own time.
I depose.
So shortly after Sen Roan leaves, you hear a sort of slow, sarcastic clap from the other corner of the room, standing in an alcove, coming out behind a curtain. Depose, nice. steps a familiar face who you all recognize, but Princess Magnolia, you know him the most. This is Prince Quartz Nebula, nephew of Queen Rose, and major politician in the House of Peers, the gender-neutral House of Lords.
Yes, and I think Magnolia gives him a steely stare for all of like 3 seconds before breaking her resting bitch face and leaping towards him with her arms outstretched. Brother!
Nephew. In this case, be your cousin. If you're
Doesn't care.
Yeah, Quartz is just like, no. If you have ever seen like a cat when you've tried to hug a cat who didn't want it, it's just like, you know, Magnolia, I'm not even quite sure what your relationship is. You are so distant and so very low in the line of succession. Which one are you? Grandchild?
Oh, I believe numeral-wise, it is 37th. But, I mean, come on, if like the Vizier croaks, I mean, she's 97. Of course I'll move to 36th.
If you will unhand me, I just came by to see what the latest crop of space blades would be doing here. What inanities and trivialities the Queen has set you on now.
I move close and just whisper into his ear, "They're majestic," and move away to sweep an arm towards them.
I'm fiddling around with my pet. What was it? Propel, and I'm trying to tune it into some sort of frequency, but it makes more like wee noises and then noises.
Oh, what does Propel look like, by the way?
It looks like, I think it's kind of teardrop shaped with a little head on it, and that moves around and swivels around and can unpack antenna and stuff like that. So it's a bit like a Star Wars droid, but smaller, like about this. Yeah, you can see it about a foot long or something like that. Also, it has a little propeller, so it flies and makes noises. It's kind of loud sometimes.
That's adorable.
It is. But Quartz is just like, I cannot imagine what my aunt is thinking to be sending you all on a diplomatic mission of all things.
She's probably thinking that I know 17 ways to kill someone with a thimble. That's helpful in diplomacy.
Oh yes, please do. Please massacre the noble corpse. That would just go delightful for all of you. Maybe it would get your entire antiquated order sacked. That would be most entertaining.
Noble Corp. Which Noble Corp?
Oh, you haven't heard, have you? Perhaps I should let you be surprised.
Mine. Got it.
Who is this? That's not the Queen, right?
No,
I
this
don't
is
have to
the
listen.
Quartz.
No, I'm talking to the. This is my character looking up like, who's this? This is not the Queen. Do I have to listen to what they're saying? Sorry. Is he important?
He's one of the most prominent members of the House of Peers. He's very important.
Okay. Sorry, I make a curtsy. Sorry, I wasn't listening. What's going on?
We're going up against East Rim.
Maybe.
What's East Rim?
My family.
The corporation Taylor came from. Even I know that. I keep a notebook.
Do you want your family to remain in one piece? Or
it's sort of immaterial. They certainly don't want me to stay in one piece. We'll have to do what we have to do.
Okay. I start sharpening my sword.
Oh, this is going to go delightfully bad. I won't stay glued to my holoscreen. I have people for that, but I'll make sure they give me a summary of this disaster. Would any of you like to try to roll to figure him out, get some extra information?
Ooh, I can unless anyone else wants to.
Go for it.
Okay, and that is wits, is it not?
Yes.
Okay, my good stat, thankfully. And since I'm a princess, I'll roll pretty pink die. Ooh, that is a 10.
Nice. You get to ask 2 questions from the list below, now or later in the scene.
Let me look at this list real quick. How could I get you to tell me what you would like us to do?
Admit you're certain. Quartz is here for the lulz, and if you entertain him by asking for his help, he'll actually tell you what he wants or what he knows.
Okay, and I think Magnolia's still like having her arm outstretched, but it's like lowering comedically as like every time they talk. And she then like swings back and starts pulling him away. It's like, okay, maybe Adria is a bit bloodthirsty. Maybe Phlogiston is really cute, but a kind of bit spacey. The other two, awesome, great track record so far. But man, what if I get captured? What if this is a trap? Oh, what if I screw up again?
I'll be heartily amused, dear second cousin 3 times removed. But I wouldn't worry too much, Magnolia. It shall be a simple errand. I'm exaggerating just to watch you squirm. It's actually not involving Daddy Dearest, dear Taylor. Though, given your reaction, I might actually have to arrange you visiting him at some point. That does sound most entertaining.
Charming.
And
yes, I have heard, although only the Queen herself is supposed to know the details, but I have heard that you are going to be sent on a diplomatic envoy to the great and powerful noble corp, Morgegi.
And
It seemed... What?
I think I'm going to ask, what are your feelings towards the Queen?
Okay, yes, he's going to tell you some more, answer some more of your question, but as he does, the tone's going to come across that he barely respects her at all. Oh yes, the Queen, so important. Her efforts at reform and bettering the lives of the common people. It's so quaint. It's such a...
Yeah. I think she gets this and will take him to introduce him personally to each one in the retinue to give them all a chance to be heard.
So yes, you will be sent to the Morgegi Noble Corp. It seems that the heir to the metaphorical throne has gotten herself engaged to the daughter of a rather important, nominally former general, although you wouldn't know that given her extensive influence over the current army. And the Queen is having you witness one of the more important marriages of, probably this generation.
So there'll be booze. Sweet.
Oh yes, do drink yourself into a stupor and humiliate yourselves, all of you. It will be interesting to watch you disgrace yourselves before the rising powers of the coming age.
Somebody will get kidnapped, right? Because that's what weddings are about. Somebody gets kidnapped.
Maybe.
Yeah. Otherwise, why would they send us?
Exactly. I mean, I could do a firework, maybe.
I've pretty much only known for rescuing kidnapped people so far.
Well, then that's what we're going to do. We are going to arrange a kidnapping and then rescue them. No, wait, that's wrong. That's wrong.
I will not
Oh,
be
this-
party to arranging a kidnapping. My job is often rescuing people who've been kidnapped, not kidnapping them in the first place.
If we figure out how to kidnap someone, we can figure out how the other opponents will be approaching it so that we can stop them better.
Yeah, I think Magnolia is like turning like with an anime sketchy face to face Quartz. The finest in the galaxy.
So what we're going to do is to prevent a kidnapping.
Well, that's easy. I just cut people in half when they're trying to kidnap. I mean, that
There will
prevents it.
There will be no cutting people in half. No one is going to be kidnapped, much less me. We're going to go to a party. We're going to see a marriage, and it's going to be fun. Damn it! I just want some fun.
Do you know how large these kind of weddings are? We're talking multiple buildings. You can't know which person they are going to attempt to kidnap so that you can stand next to them and sword anyone who approaches.
That might also be the officiate. That then I hear that's usually an officiate, and yeah, no, cutting people in half doesn't seem to solve the problem.
So each of us just takes a different building, right? No problem.
I mean, splitting up doesn't seem so very. I don't know. Maybe we should go there and see what's what, and then decide on a plan of action. And I mean, that's what I usually do when I'm in the lab.
Alternatively, says a new regal voice, you could wait until you receive your actual orders. And nephew, you could leave the room you weren't invited to.
And I will like, turn and bow. Like this feels like a great time to take a break, though.
Yeah, I think so. Let's all take a 5-minute break. See you at 5 past.
Chris, are you back yet?
Yep, here I am.
I just wanted to tell you that I cannot get that character that you came up with out of my head. That is one of the most interesting Passiones characters, well, actually just game characters that somebody has come up with in any session that I've been in.
Oh, wow, thank you.
So I just wanted to give you a thumbs up for that.
Thanks, that's really nice. You were a great DM. I had never played the system before, and you made it really easy.
I try.
You succeeded.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you had fun.
Man, looking for pictures for NPCs, that is a rabbit hole that goes way down. It's
It
Look.
is.
Just one tip. If you go searching for cowboys, make sure you have safe search on.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've gotten to the point where I broke Pinterest. Like it's I think I've just searched for so many different things and followed so many different rabbit holes that it just has no idea what I want to look for now.
Yeah, I was making this Pinterest board for like fairy court in one of my games. Like I just when I was like, I swear it's like, do you mean like drag queens? Like, no, I'm looking up Chinese wuxia actors, but okay.
All right. Are we all ready to continue? Excellent.
Yeah, works for me.
So the queen pauses and sort of just glares at her nephew until he leaves the room and makes sure he shuts the door behind him, and then turns to you. Balls of woodland. I take it that my dear nephew has already told you about your classified mission to attend the wedding of the Morgagi heir and that general's heir.
Yes, mother. And I think I'm bowing properly, like actually like rigidly and like in proper position this time.
What about you, Parallel, Taylor, Emily? I think you're all much newer to this sort of lifestyle, this situation. How does court etiquette sit with you?
I mean, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, so I'll just stand and look at her and wait until she says something interesting.
That was my plan.
Go ahead.
I'm familiar with sort of the strictures of corporate deference showing, but I'm aware that they're probably a little different here, so I'm watching Adria to see how she shows deference and then copying that.
That would be unfortunate because I'm a soldier and I stand at attention.
Then I assume the appropriate thing to do is also stand at attention.
The queen will look back and forth between you, and traditionally in circumstances like this, non-relatives and non-military are generally intended to make a sort of bow, something like this, and mimes the gesture for you.
I do so immediately.
I do so badly.
Why?
It is a social nicety invented long, long before any of our ancestors were born.
I am very bad with social niceties.
Dr. Phlogiston, it is a rote gesture that has somatic capabilities that enhance directives to be announced by the royals.
It shows you understand your place in the hierarchy below her.
I do not understand that.
Such a diverse crop of blades this year. Very well. As you most likely know, the Morgagi Noble Corp is massive, and they have a near monopoly on several pieces of technology, systems necessary for hydroponics, water reclamation, and all the things essentially necessary to maintain life on a number of planets and most space stations. And they are charging through the nose so that people must pay every penny they can spare for the privilege of continuing to breathe. And also, the other family, the Logana family, Minister Logana is far more attached to her old regiment than we like to see. In fact, they are, I'm afraid to admit, barely acknowledging royal authority at this point. If they were to get independent funding and equipment, like, say, from a noble corp, they might become one of the most dangerous loose powers in the realm.
Taylor starts nodding because this is totally the kind of scenario where you have to... they're interpreting it as, oh, so we're going to go break up the wedding to prevent this merger. That is completely the kind of scenario they are 100% familiar with.
Your Highness, should I detach them from this regiment and also from their head?
The Logana family are loyal servants of the crown, and we would never, ever take action against our loyal subjects. I am ordering your group to attend the wedding as a sign of royal favor to such prominent families. I am not ordering you under any circumstances to make sure this wedding does not happen. I am not ordering you to make sure the alliance does not form, even though that would be of great benefit to the entire realm.
Of course, and as the furthest from the throne, I suppose it is up to us, and Magnolia looks back at the others, to put all those kidnapping ventures to good use and to give a party that'll never be forgotten. Am I right, fellas?
I'm not entirely certain, but I think you are.
It's entirely possible that there may be less showy methods of ensuring the wedding goes as it should.
The lucky couple are not said to be overly fond of each other. I would prefer that things be handled bloodlessly and without prompting any improper rumors.
Your Highness, I will do everything I can to ensure that your will is carried out. I will try to do this without making anyone bleed.
Thank you. I'm sure you will all do as well as you can. Please note that the very realm may depend on it, and countless lives may be impacted by your actions in the coming days. Please be careful, be discreet, and know that if any of my servants are found to be acting without proper orders, their actions will be disavowed.
Understood.
Your Highness, does that mean that I was actually avowed at some point?
Yes, despite your bloody track record, yes, you were officially avowed, and still are.
She just gave us explicit orders. So long as we do not violate them, we are inherently avowed in that we are under her service publicly. Taylor is very hierarchical in thinking and gets frustrated that the others don't seem to understand this.
Any questions for the Queen?
Yes, I have no idea what the relevant moves are, but I essentially want to trawl for rumors. I probably have heard some things about Mindy, but Jules Logana, I don't really know anything about because she's more on the the noble or the more political side of things. So I want to trawl for any sort of dirty laundry I can find that the Queen might know about.
All right. I think that's figure out a person because you're asking the Queen for information. Go ahead and roll plus wit.
Okay.
And the rest of you, feel free to think of any questions you'd like to ask the Queen or any preparations you'd like to do before we cut to your arrival at the wedding ceremony, which will be in a few days.
No, I want to talk to the other guys without the Queen being present because I understand the concept of plausible deniability.
I have +2 wit, so I'm gonna roll, and I think I'm gonna phrase it as, hold on, my roll for party is looking weird. What did I do to it? There it is. Okay. I'm going to reroll selected. Okay, I got a 4 and a 5, so that'd be 9 plus 2 is 11, so that's a good success. And I'm going to phrase it to the Queen as being like, it would be appropriate to know more about the fortunate individuals whose coming happiness we will be celebrating. Particularly Jules.
All right. I'm going to treat that as, what are your feelings towards the blanks, those two people? So, Jules with a U, yeah. You can see their names on the NPC tab. Yes, little is known of Mindy Morgaghi. Her mother, Jandra, has, raised her at all the corporate schools, corporate training.
I remember her.
Yes, we're not entirely certain if Mindy has ever actually set foot on a planet. They appear to have kept her on tightly controlled stations of various places. The ones they control the air, foods, they run them effectively. And as for the other bride, Jules Logana, despite her unfortunate familial connections, been a fairly exemplary officer. Commendations for bravery, took down some pirate fleets in heroic battle, perhaps overly lacking in a fear of death, but it goes with the territory sometimes. She is a good soldier if her mother were not engaged in efforts to undermine the throne.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
And if that is all, I shall take my leave while you discuss your plans. All right, she heads out.
If I understand this correctly, this is not, we don't want this wedding to happen, right? I mean, just checking.
Precisely. We are to prevent it at all plausibly deniable costs.
Okay.
Thank you
Minimal
for adding the plausibly
bloodshed.
deniable. Because if you had said prevented at all costs, our job would have been very easy.
Minimal bloodshed, Adria.
Yes,
Our job is not meant to be easy. We are meant to be the Queen's instrument.
I will
Well-
try to avoid shedding any blood.
So we can just, and we shouldn't, because, I mean, we don't know if these guys are actually bad people. So we shouldn't just go and poison them or something. But we should maybe encourage them to break up this engagement.
A little tactical poisoning that doesn't end in death, but does end in, vomiting out a few organs. That's a great way to stop a wedding.
Yeah, but if they don't
They
want
just get
to,
married when the person gets better. We have
Yeah.
to make them not want to marry each other.
and to stand up
Or
Short-term solution.
what if
or
we
marry
were
somebody
to-
else.
Exactly, Dr. Phlogiston. That's what I was thinking.
Cool. So we go there, one of us marries one of them, and then that's settled.
Or you might not even need to marry them, because if all we need to do is prevent the wedding, well, and Magnolia, you're far more skilled and knowledgeable about such things than I. Wouldn't you just need to make sure that one of them sees the other in bed with someone else?
Well, it would depend on their predilections for the bedroom. I think it may be easier as they are young women, and I think this 24-year-old is talking about young women who may not wish to marry each other. This should be easier than we're thinking it is. But yes, that is a good idea, Adria. If we find out that they are supposed to be monogamous, maybe straining that line will be good.
Only if we can make it publicly embarrassing. I cannot speak to the general's spawn, but I know Mindy. She's like the rest of us. What you do in bed only matters if you get caught.
Dr. Phlogiston, doesn't your friend, your little floating teardrop thing, whatever it is, have cameras?
Of course. Yes, Propel has lots of cameras. What am I supposed to do with them? Take embarrassing pictures. I believe we can do that.
If they're eager enough, I'm not sure if sexual impropriety will be sufficient to avert the marriage. It's not a love union. It's practical, the way marriage is supposed to be.
We should maybe find out then what would invalidate a marriage.
A significant drop in the value of the corporation?
Legally, I mean, what can they have done, or what would make the marriage invalid? Do they have to say, yes, I really do, or is this just a handover? We need to know that.
Yeah, I think that's a good question for the GM. This is a setting related question, what are the rules around marriage?
I don't think any of you are inherently familiar with marriage laws as practiced among the Morgagi Corps, so you'd probably have to go there and talk to some of the experts at the ceremony. So you will be arriving a few days before the actual wedding, so we can, talk to people there, ask around, that sort of thing.
I mean, before we even head out there, wouldn't we... Something like marriage practices of a major corporation or noble corp would be a matter of public record and in various archives, right? For it to be legally enforceable, the terms of the contract must be publicly known, at least insofar as the government is aware, the courts.
Okay, fair enough. I'll let you roll Defy Danger with Wit to see what you can dig up.
Certainly. Hold, please. A 1 and a 6 plus 2, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right.
Unless anyone wants to help.
Is there any kind of assist function?
Yeah.
You can spend string to add a +1, I believe.
Okay, let's see.
I think a 9 will get the job done.
Well, 10s are always better, though.
That's true.
You know what? I will go ahead and spend one of my strings to help you out.
Thank you.
So, Knight Adria, go ahead and describe, how do you help Taylor Luthon do this researching?
I kick the terminal very hard.
So you provide some moral support. Okay, I can roll with that.
Brings me various caffeinated beverages when I'm deep into terminal queries.
All right.
Intimidates the librarian when they say the library is closed.
I am exceptionally good at looming. It is one of my most renowned skills.
Everyone needs a good loomer. Okay, with a 10, you get some really good, solid intel about this. The Morgagi marriage law is, and will be conducted under Morgagi law because they're hosting it and they've got the money, so they decide which jurisdiction it falls under. And their law is remarkably simple for the actual the ceremonies for execs and higher ups in the noble family tend to go along with massive ceremonies, day-long rituals, hundreds of guests and witnesses. But the ritual itself technically only requires the two people, and it has to be only two. Their law does not recognize group marriage. To say yes in front of at least 5 witnesses of sound mind. The laws of getting into marriage are remarkably permissive and respectful. They do have to say yes of their own free will, and people have successfully invalidated marriages by going with the "I was forced" or "not in my right mind at the time." However, the laws for divorce are extremely exacting. Getting out of a marriage is much more complicated and difficult. So it looks like if you want to stop them from getting married, you could convince one of them to just say no, and if they genuinely don't want to, they can't be forced into it. Or get one of them to marry someone else first.
What kind of impact would this marriage have on Jules's career?
Major leg up.
Oh, darn.
All right. Any other questions before we arrive at the ceremony? We'll arrive at the site of the eventual ceremony. You'll still have a few days to... Okay. So, you all take your royal... the Queen lends you one of her official royal Space Republic ships with flying the Space Republic flag in space. It has little animatronics to make it wave in the non-existent breeze. And you arrive at the station... I can talk. You arrive at Synergy, the space station capital of the House Morgagi. Yes, they call it Synergy. As you arrive, this sort of pilot goes through the automated system for docking the ship, and there are numerous pop-ups along the way. You have been assigned premium parking slot. Fees have been automatically deducted from the royal account. Please remember to wear your breath masks on Synergy. And when you arrive, so the ship lands and you see a group has gathered to meet you. You see a number of figures. Oh, and the ship lands in an enormous sort of landing bay, far larger than is actually practical. Your ship is about 3 stories tall, and there's at least 10 stories of clearance that is utterly useless with the way the space is configured. This is, look how big we can build this, and we don't even use it. Ha ha. And as you land, you see a group has gathered to meet you. You see a number who wear the typical corporate logo suits of House Morgagi. They tend to favor more metallic tones, metal-themed clothing, and sort of weird metallic helmet wig combinations. It's what they're into. And you notice they all appear to be wearing some sort of mask over their face. Not like just a sort of, it looks like a small gas mask, very, very light and designed for comfort. In fact, you notice everyone in this hold is wearing one. Although most of them are far less ornate and well decorated.
Is the Aeron Synergy breathable? I would know this from my background.
It is breathable, but residents are charged for oxygen consumption. Every resident is tagged, and the mask measures your oxygen uptake. If you take the mask off, or if it fails for any reason, it assumes you're consuming the maximum amount of oxygen possible, and you are billed appropriately.
Gotcha.
Well, they said we were supposed to wear our breath masks, and I, of course, have my own breath mask, which is quite ornate and has lots of cogwheels and things on it.
And I think Magnolia and Adria, you would be, sent with royal breath masks as well, I would think, yes? Would you want to describe yours?
I think that Magnolia does have this really it literally has like flowers etched into the mask, and like these are like have been etched in with like colored chisels to leave scars on the metal, so like the flowers look painted on. But I think she's actually traded this with Emil because she wants Emil to actually have a chance to make a good impression, and is wearing whichever that the queen gave to them.
I'm still wearing an East Rim mask. Standard corporate issue. It's partially translucent, but it's quite dark. Think about like a heavily tinted window. So it sort of semi-conceals my identity. But it has a very prominent East Rim branding on it.
Knight Adria?
There's actually two types of breath masks for the military. One is simple and functional, which you put on when you're going into combat situations. The other is formal, when you're using your dress uniform, for example, when you are attending functions at which you're expected to not shed blood. And that breath mask is chrome, reflective. It's very bright. It's almost impossible to miss. Anyone who sees it knows that this person is a highly placed, highly trained member of the military for the Queen. It is not just functional, but in that respect, it also serves as a warning to people who might not be aware of such things.
Nice. Emil, do you accept Magnolia's gift of her mask?
Sure. Yeah. I think I was like fiddling with the one, loaned to me before, and then she just comes and like switches them out, and then I'm fiddling with hers. Like, this thing.
All right. As the ship lands and the group sort of assembles to greet you, a little pop-up appears on the in front of the ship in very large billboard-sized letters, saying, "Time." It's a counter, a timer counting the amount of time of the welcoming committee that you have wasted, and a compromising equivalent cost for their billing time is showing up. And it's noted it will be billed to the royal accounts, which are very large, but the number is going up the longer you wait before greeting them.
Oh, I think I would like to maybe emotionally support Emil to help them get their mask on, if that is okay.
Absolutely. And actually, I was going to ask Emil, this is a very personal move, like giving you her own breath mask. Or do you think you're smitten with Magnolia?
I don't think that I realize it's a personal move. I don't think I see any significance to this other than that, maybe she doesn't want to be recognized immediately.
Ooh, and I think the reason that it's not recognized is because I got a 4.
Oh, ouch.
Ooh.
Yes, I have no clue. You just switched out. Maybe it's the wrong, I don't know. Maybe something's wrong with it, or you just like the other one better. I don't know.
Magnolia, if you have a string on Emil, you can spend it to get a +3 to your roll.
I do not.
Okay, emotional support and figure out a person are the only ones where you can spend a string and add a +3 to your own roll. All right.
May I greet the welcoming committee while they're still figuring themselves out? It'll technically stop the timer.
No, I think I'd like to handle the downbeat a different way.
Got it.
All right, so you fumble, and it's a little awkward and uncomfortable, but you get the mask centered on Emil properly, and you all sort of rush out to meet the group. And as you do, the one with the most elaborate metal wig headpiece is like, "Ah, yes, Princess Magnolia, it is great to have you attend this ceremony," she says while extending a hand towards Emil.
I think, and here's where the misunderstanding is. I didn't know why she did it. Now I think she wants to not be recognized. So I put out my hand to shake.
I think the misunderstanding is we both extend our hands.
Yes.
And who is this servant, Princess Magnolia? She says, pointing towards the actual Princess Magnolia.
I don't know how long I could actually keep the charade up here. In or out of character. This is Emil, my new space blade.
I must say, you have very fine uniform for a new space blade, but we are honored to have your attendance. We shall assign you to new rooms in the very house Morgegi itself. You will, of course, be billed the appropriate amounts, but a reasonable discount given your stature as representatives of the Queen. Now, we have taken the liberty of providing you with pass cards to permit you to use cars on this station. The luxury lines, which have very minimal traffic. If you will come with us, please.
I follow. And I'd like to. Did I do it right?
I whisper to Princess Magnolia, was that on purpose? Are we doing this for a reason? Did I
We
miss
are
something?
now.
Cool.
That was a brilliant tactic to avoid getting kidnapped again. I wholeheartedly approve.
But that only means that Emil will be kidnapped and then we have to rescue them.
But at least it'll be different.
I can have variety in your kidnappings, right? And I'm like, oh, okay.
It gets tiresome to rescue Magnolia all the time.
Directions first, please.
And I think you're about halfway across this impractically large space dock, which has very few actual ships in it, until one of the other ships, which you would recognize as a actual battleship, the kind that would be used in real combat. The door flies open, and a tall figure just bursts out and just wearing half of a dress uniform and a breath mask that is not quite a breath mask. It's actually an army issue helmet with internalized air supply for, space battles and whatnot.
That's Jules, isn't it?
Yes. You can't see her face well with the helmet, but there aren't many 6'6" women of her proportions, let's say.
Ooh la la.
Comes rushing over and is like, "Is that? Yes! Haha! I thought I recognized the breath mask of one of the Queen's warriors. Do I have the privilege of seeing a Knight of the Queen?"
You do. And you are?
Oh yes. I should introduce myself. I am Jules Logana, the bride-to-be at the coming ceremony, and faithful defender of Her Majesty's armies.
A pleasure to meet you, Jules. Congratulations on your happiness.
Oh, yes, the ceremony. It is a great and glorious honor to my house, and I'm, of course, beyond delighted to make any contribution I can to the further stability of the army and defense of this realm. With all, yes, that is a good and noble thing, yes. Anyways, you are a knight! I have never had the privilege of fighting a knight in a duel. Would you do me the honor? This is, we have space, we have time. The ceremony isn't for days. We can fit this in, yes?
I'd be honored.
Technically, we are all knights.
You are all space blades, but a true knight of let me face the actual.
I'm a doctor, not a knight.
Order of the Queen's Rose.
Yes, a true Order of the Queen's Rose. It would be wonderful to cross blades with you, madame.
I think Magnolia places her hand on Adria's arm, and tries to pull her back. It's not now. Hold this over her head. Bargaining chip.
It would be my honor to duel you, Jules, but we have some preparations to make first. For example, we must have safety blades because it simply would not do to injure you before your wedding.
I'm going to, as the GM, I get one string at the start of every session for every player, and I get to use them much like players do. So I'm going to spend a string now to ask Knight Adria, what would it take for you to agree to a dueling Jules right here, right now?
I think, is it okay if I talk with the other players about this?
Absolutely. Talk it over.
Because I don't necessarily have an idea, but this seems like an outstanding opportunity for us to plot. Should we negotiate for a seat of honor at her table for, say, the rehearsal dinner? Perhaps we can start driving wedges in there. Ideas?
We could demand that they waive all fees.
Capitalist.
We're not even paying those fees, but I like the idea of having some sort of more influence on her.
It's not to save us money.
Bethany?
Ask her to tell you about her exploits after the duel in a way that could be interpreted as a date by people watching.
Yeah.
I was thinking something along those lines, or ask to be her a maid of honor.
Cool. Cool.
Okay.
I mean, unless I missed it, when we did the conversation about the rules of marriage for Housemore Giggy, there was nothing about fidelity. It might be a public embarrassment.
Yes, but if she's a bridesmaid, she can get close to her, and then it'll be a public embarrassment if things go wrong. Or right.
A sufficiently large amount of embarrassment could call off the wedding. It's not a legal thing, but enough scandal could decide that it's not worth the trouble.
Also, it's a foot in the door. If we
Fair.
actually need to kidnap her, then it's better than that the bridesmaid does it. Then we just come in from the outside.
Okay. I really like Bethany's idea because that kind of starts us down that path of working our way in and maybe getting me to be a bridesmaid and that sort of thing. And it's also it also follows very much in keeping with the idea of the duel. Like, okay, you want a duel? Well, let's walk in the gardens afterward and we'll talk about our exploits. We'll share stories of battle and we'll share stories of training and
Where
maybe
did you
some of
learn to do that thing you used on me, right?
and maybe stories of the people that we lost along the way and who we miss. And
That sounds good. So yes, the Jules is Jules says, "Come, it will be glorious. We can cross blades and spar, get some lovely new scars, and then we can swap stories of the battles we have fought and won for the glory of the realm."
yes, but safety blades, as I said, I don't want to hurt you before your wedding. At least not in any way that requires any kind of medical attention.
And as this is going on, I look at the head person who thinks I'm a servant. Put it on the bride's tab, of course.
The group that came to greet you is just looking back. I honored guests. This is not the appropriate place for dueling. This is not where this sort of thing is meant to take place. And without even looking at her, Jules reaches into her back pocket, pulls some safety blades that sort of extend out into sort of like a long baton thing. Yes, she just had those on her at the time. And tosses one over, finishes, rips off what's left of her dress uniform top, leaving it on a tank top, and is like,
Va-va-voom.
I take a couple of swipes with the safety blade just to kind of get a feel for it. And then I move into katas and start rhythmically twirling the blade about, spinning it. It's flying in circles. You can tell that this is something that I'm just doing this to get a feel for the balance and the weight of it and how it handles. But you can tell that this is the result of countless hours of training.
Jules notices, and you can see her grin goes wider, like, yes, this might be a real challenge. I'm looking forward to a good fight. So my question is, when you go in for this fight, the duel, are you looking to hurt Jules or inflict a condition of some kind? Or what is your goal for this?
Can I inflict the condition smitten?
To do that, that would be you'd be rolling the entice move, which is basically you might be, if you roll the entice move, you might get Jules interested in you. It's smitten is a PC thing, but there's a good chance you could inspire interest in you with entice.
All right.
You also, if you try to figure someone out through physical conflict like this, you can ask some extra figure out a person questions that are on your the character keeper.
Okay. Let's flip over that real quick. And that's on the move sheet?
Yes. No, sorry, that's on the under the Truth of Heart and Blade tab, or not tab, table. So for you, it's when you figure out a person during a physical conflict, you may additionally ask one of these questions, even on a 6-. What are you willing to risk death for, and what kinds of deeds earn your loyalty?
Okay. Alrighty. So, what am I rolling?
That depends. Are you figuring her out, or are you enticing her?
Let me figure her out and then entice her.
Roll plus wit.
Okay. 2d6.
Oh wait, yeah, you don't have a string on her yet.
Yet. And let's do this with blue. That's an 11 on the dice.
Oh, nice. You get to ask 2 questions from the list below, now or later in the scene. And please describe how you sort of like probe and test her reflexes and skills and get a sense for her.
Well, first of all, I made sure that she's actually ready for the fight. I'm twirling this safety blade around to make sure that I got the balance of it. But just starting the fight is uncouth. That's not the way a warrior behaves. It's certainly not the way a knight behaves. So I ask her, "Are you ready?"
Oh, of course.
I'll remember you said that. And with one quick motion, I put her on her back. And it's almost impossible to see how I did it because it happened so quickly. You can't tell if the sword touched her. You can't tell if I used a hand-to-hand combat move, but she's on her back. And I reach out my hand with a smile to bring her back to her feet.
Nice. She laughs like, ha ha, that was a surprise. Bracing. Like clasps your hand and like comes back.
What does she hope to get from this duel?
You get the sense right away. The duel is the goal in and of itself. This is what she lives for. The thrill of competition and glory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one other thing. You see she briefly sort of checks herself, like if she got any she sort of landed on her elbow and she like sort of checks if she got a bruise or anything, and you can see she's visibly disappointed that she didn't get much of a mark. She's looking for some kind of something to show off from this, and it's just like, oh.
Okay. So now that she's back on her feet, I take a few steps back. Are you ready?
Again, yes, let's do this.
Again, it's almost as if you would miss it if you blinked. But this time, I am behind her with the safety blade against her throat. You may remember this technique, Jules. Well, you may have heard about it, I should say. Did you ever hear about the Jacobin lunge?
I do believe I have.
This is what it looks like. And by this point, I mean, obviously, if I have the blade against her throat and I'm behind her, it's pretty close. And I whisper in her ear, usually there's more blood involved. So now I want to ask the question, and this is from my Truth of Blade. What kind of deeds earn her loyalty?
Competence. That's what you get the sense now. What she cares about most in someone is that they can do something well, as particularly martial competence, but the strength, power, that sort of thing.
I let her go, pat her on the shoulder, and say, "Would you like to go again?"
I think you're rolling, and you're definitely enticing her. I'm going to have to ask you to go ahead and roll heart.
That is a 7, and I believe heart is at 0 or 1.
All right.
The character sheet. Hang on a second here. Yeah, my heart's at 0.
So you get a 7. You gain a string on jewels.
All right.
Yeah, you get a string on jewels, because she is not going to give in to desire this quickly, no.
Okay.
But you can tell, like, you have really gotten to her, and she's like, yes. I think I think it would be a little too soon for another duel. It would. I am afraid that duty calls and other things must be tended to. But we will discuss this further. I look forward to swapping tales of our glorious combat with you. Come along. The rest of you can see to the diplomatic niceties or whatever must be done. Surely you can take care of that, she says to the greeters, but come with me. There are these fantastic gardens with, I will show you this wonderful place I found. And heads off.
Last question. What does she love the most?
Yes?
No, answer Puckett's question first, please.
What does she love the most? I think before she heads off, you see her, she puts back her uniform on, and, it was half, yeah, she's Gwendolyn Christie. It was half on when she rushed out here, but she puts it back on and certain special attention to it now, straightening it all, making sure that the metals lie straight and everything is proper. It's her regiment. That's what matters to her above all else. And I think you had a question, Parallel?
Yeah, as she moves, as she leaves, I would like to send some little camera drone after her, maybe? Of course, I'm afraid that she will discover it and crush it, because I'm very, very sentimental about my drones. That would make me sad if that happened.
It's a big place and there's enough going on. Yeah, you can definitely sneak propel after her for now. I might ask you to roll for some stuff later, but
yeah, okay. So I'll just release my little kind of it's kind of a tiny little clockwork thingy with looks like a mosquito almost, but it has a belly filled with liquid that is fuel. Obviously, you can make them explode, but not remotely.
okay. With that, the woman who came to greet you just sort of briefly puts her head in her hands like, barbarians. Paints a smile on her face. All right, as we were, we shall now resume our official welcoming of the Queen's representatives to Synergy. Emil, I noticed that you have a local guide move.
I do.
If you want to ask her for advice in a situation like this, now is a really good time for that. Or really, any of you can make some moves, ask some questions of her as she leads you to your rooms.
I'm not sure where to start. I'm still pretending to be. I haven't spent a lot of time on Noble Corp worlds in general, and I've never been to Synergy. Are there any special taboos or traditions here that we need to know about?
Always keep your ID on you. You are on the Queen's tab, as it were, Bo. So you will. Her pockets run deep, and I'm sure she can afford any cost you stumble on. But it would be most unseemly if we have to process the extra paperwork of confirming your identity, confirming that, yes, the Queen will be charged for this, that her servants could not afford the luxuries they stumbled into. I'm sure you would like to avoid that.
Of course.
Hey, it's at the hour. Do we want to take a 5-minute break?
I think so. Yeah, let's do that real quick. And yes, that's 1 XP for the group after this.
Cool.
Sweet. That's technically Sabine's like win. I just noticed it in the chat and made it into words. But I'm glad you said so because I need to pee and get another drink.
This game is also XP on a miss, right, Kyle?
That's correct. Yes, XP on a miss, or if you ever get, I believe 4 string on someone. Sorry, if you get a 5th string on someone, it resets to 1 string, and you get +3 XP.
Gotcha.
I believe we're all back. So, while Knight Adria is taking a ambiguously romantic walk with Jules through the Gardens of Synergy. Gardens of Synergy. The name is just going to be inherently silly to me for a while. The attendants have guided you to your own room. It is a lavish, it's a fairly extensive suite of chambers. Big private bathrooms, enormous, tubs, beds, everything. Very, they're showing that the House Morgegi is showing their wealth off again. Like, yes, even you people will receive magnificent welcomings. So, with the 4 of you alone, except for Adria, who's off with Jules, what do you do? What is your plan for investigating and/or breaking up this wedding?
It occurs to me the simplest approach would be to convince Mindy it's a bad deal. Jules is more trouble than she's worth.
Or give her someone much sexier to apply her gaze upon that would maybe help the crown. Hint, 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 hint.
Mindy won't care about physical appeal. She's corporate. It's not how we are.
It's not how you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a physiological reaction in your brain that happens when you look at something you desire.
Attraction does not drive marriage, nor sex.
But does it drive desire?
Yes, but desire is immaterial. She won't marry because of lust. She'll marry for advantage.
And you're saying I'm not advantageous.
You're certainly not controllable.
I'll take that as a compliment.
There are a few people more advantageous than a princess.
37th to the throne and unlikely to sway in loyalty?
I understand, and by marrying me, she would be obligated to help the Republic, so it's deal-wise very poor.
Well, but people make...
Try both? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
That was it.
People than me, anyway. I don't know much about people, only that they make irrational decisions all the time. Corporate or no.
She's the child of the head of the board.
She's not a robot.
If she doesn't want to be disowned and hunted to the outer edges of space, she'll do as she's told.
Or she'll end up like you.
And no one wants that.
You did.
Not by choice.
Wait, are you saying you aren't here by your own choice? You are here because I do not even understand why you're here then, actually.
I'm here because I have no other options.
And this did not happen because of your choices.
Given that Adria had to rescue me from procedures that were very likely to kill me in their attempts to fix me, pretty much, yeah.
So we've got some options, or you have some options to go out and get some more information about the local area. I mean, Emil, you have the local guide question you could ask some people about. Um,
Sorry. Would that have counted as the people or people move?
you know what? You're right. It would have. Thank you. Please point out when your playbook moves have come up. I haven't had a chance to study your playbook moves as thoroughly as I'd like, so if you're steering towards them, please point it out.
I just got 2 6s.
All right. On a 10 plus, choose 2.
So I definitely just admitted a flaw about my home. So I'd gain a forward.
What flaw did you admit exactly?
That even though I'm the child of the head of the board, they were essentially going to torture me to death to try to fix me.
Oh, okay.
I feel like most people would consider that a flaw. And I mean, I'm not lying about my home to impress a listener, but I am disclosing a truth about my home to impress the listener. Could I still get a string?
Let's see. Who are you trying to get a string on?
I think I was talking to Parallel, but in general, I'm trying to communicate some of the realities of like Noble Corp royalty, for lack of a better term, life to the group who may not be familiar with it.
Parallel. Does that sound like impressive enough to get that you would give them a string?
No, because right now Taylor has just shut down every plan we had, and I don't think that they really should get a string for that. I mean, I'm sorry, but that was very much like, no, your plan won't work, and I don't know if that's worth a string. Actually, that wasn't
Okay.
like they didn't offer a better plan.
Well, the proving the jewels is a bad plan. That was an alternate plan. The jewels isn't a good bet, a good deal.
Okay, yeah, take the string, fine.
I'm fine with not taking the string. I agree it's a reach. I just wanted to point out that there's an option.
On anyone, it would probably be Magnolia, as you two had like the back and forth with Magnolia trying to say, like, no, like you, but you. Then it's like, but you, and like sort of that back and forth between them, maybe.
Yeah. Also, I mean, this is a play test, right? So let's step back here and say it's the move says lie about your home. It doesn't say share something informative about the home, which might be something to bring up and feedback that this would maybe be more interesting than lie about your home and gain a string, because that's weird. That's more like that you could say, hey, tell them something interesting you think is interesting about your home, even if it's made up, and take a string. I think that would make maybe for a better move.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I agree that rules is written, that isn't really meriting a string. I mostly wanted to roll because I saw it as like a solid opportunity for a +1 forward, given that I did like open up somewhat about like what home was like.
It doesn't say you have to choose each option just once. Maybe you could take +1 forward twice.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, I think so.
No rule against it, I think.
Okay, that might be something good to include in feedback, like clarify that one way or the other.
Okay.
But I'll put it as +2 for now. Thank you.
So, let's see. Dr. Parallel Phlogiston, you have the option to commune with the unseen. If you want some more intel about this place.
Yes, I think I was thinking about that. I was just thinking of how to phrase it, but I learned something important from the unseen. Yeah, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can gain some insight. So I will make my excuses I have to set up my lab and have to study some of the currents that are going about this place. Maybe I can find some information that is not available to the wider public. Maybe I can hack into somebody's diary or something like that.
I'd like to engage in some espionage, essentially, trying to find indications that Jules will not be a convenient pawn, that she bears some loyalty towards the Republic in addition to her unit, and that Mindy might not be able to control her, make her useful.
Absolutely. We can take care of that. I think, would you want to roll first, Parallel? Parallel? You're muted?
Oh, I know. I was looking at some other tab. Sorry. Yeah, I can do that. Sure. What do I roll for that? I think I roll plus soul, right? Yeah.
That's right, yes.
Okay, so I've got 2 dice. And I've rolled a 10, so that's a 12. Yeah. Those systems are very cooperative here, I think. So I'll choose 2. I want to learn something important from the unseen.
All right. Describe what kind of unseen are you consulting here? Is this some sort of like techno spirits, some
Yes.
sort of primitive AIs?
Yeah, I think that's some sort of techno. You can't call it techno spirits. Yeah, that's probably the closest. There are some, as I said, there's some wisdom between the frequencies, and I'm assessing that. It's a mixture of magic and tech, really.
All right. The techno spirits you summon up bring you some interesting intel. Mindy Morgagi has been exchanging a number of encrypted emails through secret back channels that would not go on the register with someone outside of Synergy.
Okay, can I find out who that is? A name?
I think so, but I think that would take the other that like if you got a 10 plus, right? So I think
Yeah.
that'd be the other.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. If I can find out something more.
Yes. You bargain some more with the tech spirits, and by the way, the unseen gets a string on you.
Yeah,
So
that's okay. Sure.
to find out, she has been exchanging some rather intimate seeming emails with some woman named Rebecca at a rather large station called Crossroads out a ways from Synergy. It's one of the major trading posts where things, the routes tend to cross through there.
So maybe she's not quite as loyal as might and willing to go into this marriage as it seems. So cool. Yeah, fine.
And I think I'm assuming you share that information with the group?
Yes, I do. Totally.
And just after you share that information, you hear a knock on the door. Well, rather, the special sweet chime goes off, and the little hologram pops up saying, "Who's at your door?" And Princess Magnolia, I am afraid to say that it is the Dame Diamanda is at your front door with a few of her few honor guard in tow.
Oh, crap. And I will look at Emil. I will look back at the door. I think she knows me well enough that if I answer the door like this, she will know me by my height. Yeah, I'm going to go answer the door. Because this is my destiny, so.
Okay. Yeah. You open the door, and Diamanda looks down at you, and is like, "Ah, so you actually are here. I'd gotten was under the impression you'd got some local rube to take your place for some ridiculous reason. Are you so truly ashamed to show your face around here that you had a body double do it for you?"
No, it's just that Mom's been angry that I've been kidnapped so much that she forced me to take a body double, just in case.
Ah, yes, I'd forgotten how terrible you all are at your jobs.
Well, not terrible enough that you didn't come check on me.
Oh, just making sure that the local target was actually here. I mean, oops, I'm not trying to kidnap you.
Oh, I think I want to am I defying danger by rolling heart? Or just trying to entice her?
Let's defend. What are you trying to do?
I think I want to use her connection with me for like our benefit. Like if she's going to be like if I know she's going to be after me, like I want it to be like a show, be able to time it when it's when if anyone has anything to say, I want a duel. Well, that's ill-timed, but we can't say no.
I think, yeah, let's count that as entice.
Okay, and since this is part of my destiny, can I take a +1 forward?
Yes.
I believe that is part of the move. Okay, so that is a 10 then.
Alrighty. On a 10. Yeah, you gain a string on them, and they choose a list from below. So yeah, just describe what you do.
Yeah, I think I like lean against the doorway. It's like it is such a bother to be kidnapped. It would be so much nicer to be prepared with all my belongings if a time were to be met for, say, a attractive person to sweep in and sweep me off my feet.
Just a hint of red goes to Diamanda's cheeks, and she's like, "Honor guard, why don't you go take a walk around the block? I think I have something to discuss with Magnolia." So yeah, she's gonna promise something they think you want, and she assumes you want information.
Mm-hmm.
And while you think about some questions to ask, let's hop over to Taylor. You were looking for information yourself.
Yes.
And I think you might be good to play silly tourist. You know, you can figure out a person by playing the fool. Maybe, or what were you thinking?
I was thinking figure out a person. I'm just not sure how silly tourist relates.
I mean, silly tourist is the bonus to figuring out a person.
Oh, okay, then yes.
You just have to play the fool a bit. So I guess there are any number of people you can contact. So who do you go out to, and just describe what you do?
I essentially do that old trick of getting into locked offices by acting drunk and lost, and stumble my way into like the private files and whatnot of Jules. So I think that means I need to roll. Roll selected. I got a 5 and a 6. And I get to ask an extra question. So yeah, that definitely passed, and I get an extra question. So regular figure someone out. Okay. And I can roll wit. Like I can add wit if I need to, if like a 13 is better than an 11, but I don't think it is. So I can ask a total of 3 questions, 2 from this list and 1 from my move list. So what are your feelings towards the Republic and its queen? What are Jules's feelings?
Okay, yeah. So you've like sort of snuck into her suite.
Yeah, or anything that'll get me access to her files, essentially.
I think you have enough understanding of the corporate information protocol, so you're able to do that. And yeah, you're snooping through some of her recent communiques, like tracking the messages and such. And the answer appears to be not much, one way or the other. I mean, there's a lot of devotion to the regiment and the family, but doesn't appear to care much about the Queen.
What about the Republic? That was part of it.
Oh yes. Again, abstract loyalty to the idea of it, but doesn't seem super devoted.
Okay, so we can't prove she's a bad deal that she won't switch loyalties. It's one of the options. How could I get her to call off the wedding?
Everything you say or see shows she doesn't like Mindy. Plain and simple. There's no attraction there at all. She finds her boring, intensely so, and you see a hungered in there for some romance, some drama. She wants glory. She wants a warrior she wants to be with a warrior, not a bureaucrat.
Okay, so Jules is seducible even if Mindy might not be. And then I get one more from the silly tourist move. I guess, like, what's in the most danger? Unless someone else has a better idea.
Looking around, Mindy does not go around with a lot of security. I mean, this is the heart of her corpse power, but she does not like guards, apparently. She goes around virtually unprotected any chance she gets. Okay, jumping back into the room with Princess Magnolia, Diamanda, and the Bethany and Parallel.
So I am completely useless in this room.
Sorry.
And that was the reason I'm saying what I'm going to say here, which is that I'm not in the room.
Okay.
I have gone out before, like I haven't been in the room. Still believing that because like we haven't ever had a chance to have this discussion, that the whole mask switch thing was to like, in case someone tried to kidnap Magnolia, I'm going to go wander around and look for any sort of suspicious activity because like she's clearly worried about that.
Go ahead and roll Defy Danger.
Sure.
I'm not sure. Let's see. You're basically trying to wander into trouble.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you're not being clever or knowledgeable.
No.
I'd appreciate a suggestion
No.
instead to roll.
I'd say soul, just basing on luck.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Luck is, yeah, that is kind of what I'm going for here, I think, because it is pure luck, or pure not luck. So let's see. I rolled a 5. Let me look at my. Never mind. I know I don't have a 2 in anything. Yeah, no, that brings it all the way up to 6.
Could you use a string to get right over that edge?
Actually,
Okay, I'll take a 6.
you can also use tradition, perhaps, if you're doing this with a smile.
Let me look at my traditions.
True, you are going out here, putting yourself in danger and making every effort to be like, yes, this is fine. I'm fine with this. I'm not, marching into the lion's den.
That is true. I'm going along with what I think I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, I'm. Let's see. I think I'm not disturbing my community by not okay, yeah, I'm just. This is what you want me to do. This is what I'll do.
All right. You stumble across something. It's just wandering around, going into various seedy areas. Um, and you. All right. So on a 7 to 9, I'll offer you a hard choice or success at a cost. You hear people. You're wandering around in a dark alley. You hear some huddled figures, shadowed figures, say the word Mindy and saying something about, like mutter Mindy, mutter shuttle flight, mutter we'll have to move fast before the ceremony.
Cool. Okay. I'm gonna sneak a little bit, closer, see how much I can hear, and then when the people go off in different directions, I'm gonna follow at least one of them. Obviously, I can't follow both of them if they go in different directions, but
I
I'm waiting
think
for them to leave, so I can just follow them, see where they go.
with the hard cost, I think you'll get to see where they go, but they'll spot you as you follow them in.
Sure.
Okay, so they notice you and they scatter and you run back through the alleys and the looping thoroughfares of the synergy. And eventually, just before they vanish out of sight for good, you see at least one of them returned to the official, the home of the Morgeki family.
That's very interesting. I don't think I'm going to try to sneak in there because I think Taylor would be able to do that a lot better than I. Since I know somebody who could probably do it, I'm not going to.
Okay. Magnolia, did you have any pressing questions for Diamanda?
Yes, that I have heard amazing stories about this trade post. I mean, there's a woman who works there, Rebecca, I think, can keep a mighty good secret. Maybe we should rendezvous there and talk about our relationship outside of the bounds of Space Queen Republic and Noble Corp. What we want.
I don't know any Rebecca, but I know Crossroads well. They are, whew, if you ever need to blow a weekend and have no memory of it afterwards, that's the place to go. Greatest party station in the realm.
You can't tell me that any time with you would not be memorable.
Oh,
And I think I am smitten.
nice.
So, when I become smitten, I must. How do our respective stations make it impossible to be together? Oh. And I believe it's on both of us. Me for being the 37th in line, her Noble Corps for being one of like in of the Fortune 500, it is like in the top 10. So like to settle for the 37th in line would be just that, settling. So even though we may love each other, it can never be.
And Diamanda gets a string on you.
Okay.
Nice. So while this has all been going on, and actually, do you actually head off with Diamanda to Crossroads?
No, I'm thinking that's why I want her to kidnap me during the wedding, if that happens, to take me to Crossroads.
Oh, I shall prepare our fastest ship and our most cunning guards to snatch you away from this dreary ceremony.
I await it.
And while this has been going on, Knight Adria, you have been having a fascinating conversation with Jules in the garden.
Yeah, we've been sitting underneath something that looks like a cherry blossom tree, except the colors are really unusual. I mean, instead of like the kind of pale pinkish purple blossoms, the tree itself is orange, and the leaves are like this vibrant, iridescent, shimmering dragonfly wing color. And we've just been sitting there chatting about various battles and various techniques, and every once in a while we'll get up and we'll actually demonstrate some hand-to-hand combat with each other, like, oh, that, yeah, here's how you do that properly. You grab the elbow this way and then you do this. So we've been getting some light bruises. Nothing too intense, no bloodshed. I'm remembering my instructions. I have not killed anyone. I have not drawn blood, but she seems very enthusiastic about really trying to learn advanced combat techniques. And I know a thing or two about how to teach that without injuring anybody because, well, I got hurt all the time doing it. So.
And you're trying not to injure her, but you notice a couple times she like reverse dodges. She intentionally moves into a way to leave more impressive bruises in places and stuff.
It seems that Jules, and forgive me for being so direct, but it appears that you are moving directly into the path of my strikes on occasion.
It's horribly embarrassing.
Why is it embarrassing?
I don't think Mindy likes me. I have come to her, and I know this is a political marriage. I know I should not expect any true feelings, but I come to her and I show her the medals I have won and the things I have achieved, and I bring all that I've got, and it is if it means nothing to her. So I think maybe, I don't know, she's not a duelist, we would never fight. It would not be fair to her. But if I can show her my martial prowess, if I can come home and be like, yes, this is what I have won, and the things I have suffered for the cause of glory and nobility, perhaps that will win her heart.
Jules, does she know what it means to serve something greater than yourself?
Her corp, it's like an army, I suppose. There are rules, there are hierarchies, there is, I suppose, glory of a kind.
But does she know what it means to defend people? To stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves?
No.
Does she know what it means to sacrifice? To lose? Just so that others may live?
I'm not sure that Mindy Morgaghi has ever lost anything in her entire life.
But you have.
And so, she turns to you, so I think have you.
My life has been lost. But I serve.
You know what? Yeah. She's gonna go in for a kiss. You can back away if you want. Your conviction is, your devotion, tenets that do include celibacy.
I think I'm just going to be kissed and maybe kiss back tentatively. And that's one of the tenets that I've struggled with. And when she pulls away, I say, Jules, you know of my order, yes?
And I know of my duty. I know my mother has told me that the army depends on this deal that will give us more power, more influence. This will be the thing that makes our name for all eternity. But I don't know if I can spend my life with someone who cares nothing for all that matters to me. Can you spend your life with no one at all?
I've never had that choice before.
Parallel, you have your little gadget thing spying on all this. So go ahead and roll with wits to see how incriminating a conversation you can get on camera and recording.
Okay. Is that a defy danger?
Yeah, sorry. Defy danger, I think.
Cool, because my little pet can help me with this. If I'm distracted, it can direct the camera to be not quite as obvious. Oh, well, it doesn't need to anyways, because I've got a 10 on the roll. That makes it a 12.
Yeah, you got perfect high-quality screenshots of them kissing and her being like, oh, I can't spend my life with this woman and all that.
At that point, I will start to be smitten with Night Adria.
Nice.
Because she's so dramatic, and so my life has been awesome, and something inside me tells me, yeah, oh well, I kind of want to take her in my arms and make it all better somehow. I don't know. Oh god. I think I have to, when I'm smitten with someone that's over here, say why I have, give them a string. Yeah, you get a string, and then answer this question. What obvious thing about you are sure would make them reject you? Well, I'm not a fighter at all. I'm a scientist. I'm a doctor, not a warrior.
So I have a string on
You have
Dr.
a
Spot. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So you're a scientist, not a warrior.
Yeah. That's what I believe would turn you off me.
All right. So I think you back up the group. You all see this footage. You get just how little Jules is invested in this, and it certainly seems like she'd be easy to sway away. Are you going to do anything with this information? Take it to Mindy? Anything like that?
I contribute what I know of what I learned, essentially.
Yes. Yes.
I also contribute that somebody appears to want to kidnap Mindy.
Does she want? Is it clear that they want to kidnap Mindy, and that this isn't Mindy running away from the marriage to Rebecca?
I in character, I think that this is a kidnapping.
Okay.
So I mean, although if you come up with, yeah, and if that was in character,
Yeah, that was in character. Totally.
they sounded, I don't know.
This cannot stand. If anyone's going to be kidnapped, it should be me.
What'd you come to work for then?
Well, you see, if I get kidnapped in the middle of the marriage, Jules can follow after, and Mindy can come with her. Then Jules will show off her warrior essence, and Mindy will have to swear her love to Rebecca. It'll be so beautiful, and everything will end so perfectly. Except for me, I guess.
I feel that this is overly complicated at this point.
No, wait. Why don't we kidnap you?
Because I believe that Adria would have to convince Jules to go after Princess Magnolia with her. Yes, that would totally break up the marriage at that point. So we cannot actually. We should be seen there and be shocked that Magnolia. But who would kidnap you at somebody else's wedding, Magnolia? I'm missing something here.
Dame Diamanda. She's so
Again.
pliable.
Yeah, but she's kidnapped you 2 times before this.
The 3rd time's the charm, I guess.
I do not understand this at all.
I get the impression you're going to get Diamanda to kidnap you so that Adria can convince Jules to chase after you to rescue you.
Yep.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
this.
as a player, I get this. As a character, I
Oh yeah.
don't understand the dynamic between Magnolia and Diamante.
Yeah, and I think as a doctor, this is too many variables. You need a much simpler plan.
Yeah, too many things lots of things can go wrong there. Do we have any inroads with Mindy? Taylor, can you go find out what's up with this Rebecca person?
I mean, I can go break into Mindy's room and files. If you expect me to actually speak to her, that's going to go less well.
Oh,
I'll just go break into things.
I mean, we have all these informations about Jules not really wanting her. We can cut it together, maybe a bit more.
Talk to Rebecca, though.
Hmm?
Maybe some of us
Sorry.
should go talk to Rebecca.
Yes, maybe some of you should go talk to Rebecca. As a princess, I can get Mindy to at least meet with me. And that way we won't have to break into anything. Not everything has to be illegal, Taylor.
What kind of place is Crossroads? Is that a corporate thing, or is that
It's a big station with tons of transit in and out, and also a major entertainment district. That's basically what it makes its money off of. So any sort of space shipping, most of it goes through there. And, space truckers need entertainment.
so we could go there and talk to this Rebecca person?
That sounds good.
All right. So before we do that, Adria, you've had this tentative kiss with Jules. Do you think you've acted contrary to your devotion, tenets?
Not yet, because it was a very tentative kiss back. As this, I think, still technically counts as celibacy. I'm being obedient. I haven't had to. Nobody's asked for mercy yet. So, the only tenet that is borderline here is celibacy.
And as long as y'all never have any sort of sexual intimacy or marriage, you technically aren't violating it.
Well,
Technically.
couldn't you have a marriage that is in fact celibate?
I looked up the definition of celibacy and it says no marriage. You can have marriages that are chaste, maybe? I think celibacy says no marriage.
Interesting. If only there were a queen around that could issue a ruling on this, depending on how it plays out.
So the Jules is like, oh, brave knight, I think we've been together for too long already. I must let you go, but can I have some memento, at least something to remember you in this night by? And I'm going to offer you an experience point. I can do that with an influence. If you give her some sort of incriminating token of affection.
I smile, draw a small blade, slice my palm open, and gently place my hand against her cheek.
So extra. All right. And while we're getting near the end of the session and I've still got some strings left, I'd like to throw a little wrench in the plan to get the regal and knowledgeable princess to talk to Mindy, and instead have Emil just stagger into Mindy just in the corridors. Would you accept an XP for that?
Yeah, sure.
Is that all right with you, Ferret? Okay. Take an XP. And yeah, you just sort of while scoping out around the actually, why would you be wandering around outside your suite?
I think that's what I'm here for.
Okay. Yeah, just and sure enough, you run into Mindy, who is just the spitting image of her mom. Not just because I used pictures of the same person for both. Runs into you and is like, "Oh, you're with the royal delegation, aren't you?"
The Queen's Space Blades. Yes, that's me.
That's so nice. It's good to see you. Are you Princess Magnolia?
Yes.
Excellent. I was so hoping to speak with you. One pseudo princess to a real one.
What did you want to speak to me about?
Oh, just there are questions of trade and politics, and I'm sure you have much insight with. I mean, you must know your mother so well.
Yes, trade, politics. There's a kidnapping plot against you.
Okay, that right there, that was delightful. First thing, and also, I think I'm gonna have you. You're definitely acting against one of your commandments right now, because this is not keeping up appearances. This is
No, this is not.
So when you break a commandment, are you repudiating it forever, or is this just a temporary thing?
I think that I'm doing this. Well, okay. I was up until a second ago. I was doing this because I thought, like, I was supposed to be doing this. But yeah, I just threw in that somebody wants to kidnap you because in order to distract her from the politics and the trade. Let's please talk about this kidnapping plan instead. But yeah, that was definitely that is a downer. You should not talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like
that's
sure. Let's repudiate that one.
okay, and I think that's a good cliffhanger to go out on. So let's call that a close. Thank you all for joining this first session, and for your patience while I get into the swing of things with character creation and the new system. I think we'll probably have time to do stars and wishes real quick. Oh, and actually, first things first, there's an end of session move. Each player marks XP if during the session a PC confessed their love. Adria, do you think you did that with Jules?
You mean confess love to her?
Yes.
I think that's borderline, because saying this is the first time I've had a choice isn't saying I love you.
No, if Jules admitted love to you, I think, right?
No, it's a PC has to confess their love to someone else. No one de-escalated a violent situation. And
Wait a minute. What do you mean no one de-escalated a violent situation?
I think
you wanted a duel.
I think Adria de-escalated a violent situation, but I think I admitted my love finally to Dame Diamanda.
Point. That could have gotten violent. She did show up with armed guards.
Mm-hmm.
And you did, I think, Emil, you did leap into danger with just, hello, I'm just going to confess this scheme. I'm just going to leap right into this and tell you about things. And someone did use a safety tool, so
I have a question. Is that one XP if one of these conditions are met, or is it XP for each of them? Because each of them seems a bit rich.
Each of them seems generous, but I believe that's the rules as written. I'll double check that.
I find it's a bit unclear. It says each player marks XP if during the session all these one of these things, and there is a list.
Yes, in the full rule book, it says each P marks XP for each condition that is met by anyone in the group. So everybody gets 3 XP. In addition to whatever 6 minuses you rolled. And if we have the time, and feel free to check out early if you have things you need to do, but let's do some stars and wishes. Stars to everyone for helping playtest this new game. I'm excited for it. And I'm sure they'll appreciate some good feedback and stuff. I can post a link to the feedback form. I'll go ahead and do that in case anyone's interested. It's obviously not obligatory and it's completely anonymous, so I'll have no idea if you do or don't. I don't know.
And Kyle, could you put that in the Slack so it doesn't go away when we close down the StreamYard session?
Absolutely. It is in the there we go. In the Slack.
Thank you.
So stars. Let's go through this. Bethany, I did kind of like the whole blurting out there's someone trying to kidnap you. It's fun. It brought some nice drama. Good cliffhanger note to go out on. Princess Magnolia, way to lean into the yes, my fated rival and love. Please kidnap me. I'd be into that. 3rd time's the charm. Phlogiston, I've been appreciating the whole like. I really don't get this social stuff, but I'm gonna do my spooky cybertech wizard powers and just see what comes of that. And good job having the little spy drone go after to spy on Adria and Jules. Adria, nice high drama. The pseudo seduction of Jules, the way to cause some problems. And Taylor, good sleuthing around the place, digging into. Yes. It's always good to have some, inter-PC smittenness. So yes, thank you all. Wishes. I realized this wasn't as high drama as the setting intends. I'm gonna take another look at the notes, make sure I get a handle on the moves everyone's selected, and I'm gonna dial that up for next time. Get some more action. Try to get some more PC scenes where I realize I had an unfortunate habit of splitting you off this episode, and I'll try not to split the party so much going forward. Okay, that's it for me. Let's go with Sabine. Stars and wishes, if you'd like.
It's pronounced Sabine. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I know I keep Sabine.
Yeah, thank you. Stars and wishes. Yay, stars for everybody. I loved the way that Taylor was so uncompromising about, no, these corporations do that and that and that, and I know all this because I'm an expert. I know this. And I liked that. And then Adria for, yes, I need to fight. And fighting is good. And fighting is romance. And that was awesome. And I'm totally smitten with Knight Adria now. And Magnolia, yeah, well, what can I say? Ferret, you're the best. That is like, I've been kidnapped. Now I'm going to get kidnapped again. I really want to be kidnapped. It was lovely. And Bethany, the whole, oh, they think I'm Magnolia. Now I'm going to wander into danger and see what comes of it. And I'm not telling anybody because, hey, what could go wrong? I loved it. And Kyle, thanks for running this. I had a lot of fun. It was a good setup because we didn't know much about the setting and the world building. So we had to do a bit of that, which I always like to see how things come together, what magic and technology, what's the interaction here. And I feel we're more into a bit of a science fiction thing than into a really magical thing. So
Great, thank you. Next up, we've got. I'm sorry, I accidentally closed my character keeper. Let's just go with Ferret. You're next.
Gasp. Well, again, stars to everyone. Thank you, Bethany, for rolling with that failure and just like, of course, I'm your body double. That's why I'm here. Even though it's like I made Magnolia like very short. I figure Emil is quite a bit taller than she is, and just like the awkwardness Emil radiates feels very secret to me. And Taylor, you are like the bureaucratic C3PO of the group. Like, no, this is the correct way to do things. We're going to do it this way. That doesn't sound right, but it's the correct way to do things. We've got to do it this way. And Phlogiston, I think my favorite part was, I have this drone. It doesn't explode remotely. So I guess it can't explode up close. And Adria just fighting off like the romantic duel is very much Wuxia inspired to me, and really gave me a feel for this. Gave me good Firefly vibes as well, actually. And Kyle, it's rare that I like sci-fi. It's rare that I like sci-fantasy as much, but this entire premise is way too good to throw away. And like, I just came and was like, yeah, I'm going to be a princess, but not that special pretty princess, but the other princess, the Goodwill princess, bargain basement princess, and you just ran with it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Puckett?
Again, stars all around. Bethany, I loved the awkwardness around Emil. That was just absolutely fantastic. That I know everybody's saying, like, has said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Blurting it out at the end of the session, that was just fantastic. I loved that. It was just like, okay, I'm officially dead now. Sabine, I loved the awkwardness there. Just that kind of inability to register why any of this stuff is happening because none of it makes sense. None of it is logical. None of it is reasonable. None of it follows any kind of path that any reasonable person would follow. It's all arcane and just, it's like black magic. I loved how you just kind of like portrayed that bewilderment is probably the best way to put it. Chris, your corporate character was killing me.
Thank you.
Because it's just like it's like, no, we have to do it this way. We have to do it this way. Even if it's at odds with what everybody else in the group wants to do, we have to do it this way. You played that character to the hilt, and I loved it. And Ferret, I'm starting to get the feeling that Princess Magnolia wants to be kidnapped, and that maybe Adria doesn't need to rescue her. And I mean, if that's the case, why the hell am I even on this mission besides making out with Jules apparently now? I mean, it's like if you want to be kidnapped, I don't need to rescue you because it's what you want.
Because my mom doesn't approve, and you're on my mom's paybook.
Well, it doesn't mean I'm necessarily, well, okay, yeah, I am devoted to the queen. So yeah, I guess I am sort of on her side. But still, you running off and getting yourself kidnapped again may mean that I have to shed some blood. And I've been told not to do that repeatedly by a lot of different people, so please don't do that. But I'm digging how you're playing Princess Magnolia. It's a lot of fun. And Kyle, I know it's a new system. I know it's weird because there's things in here that are like very, very Monster Hearts, like strings, which are just straight up Monster Hearts. So there's familiarity with it, but there's also bits of the system that seem a little wonky. And, this is one of the reasons why you do playtesting. So, I like how you are trying to think through these things and resolve them in ways that not only make sense for the story, but are also fair to the players. So I really appreciate how you're approaching that.
Thank you. Chris.
Yeah, stars to everybody for committing and going with it. Y'all have very vibrant characters, even from the first session, and you're all getting into a lot of good drama. Princess Magnolia, I very much enjoy your enthusiasm to get kidnapped. It reminds me of some of the best sort of hero-villain pastiche romance fiction I've read. Of the hero just so excited to get kidnapped again by the villain. Very fun. Bethany, it's nice to be playing with another seeker, if one of a very sort of different background. We can kind of both have that, fish in a new pond situation. So it's kind of nice to see two approaches going at the same idea in very different ways. And you're doing great with Emil. Loved the cliffhanger you set up. Sabine, fun as always. And I think Parallel is a great character, and I'm looking forward to both more confusion and more innovative solutions that come from her tech wizardry. And of course, Puckett, you are as fun to play with as always, and I'm very excited to see who Adria decides to accidentally cut in half next. So well done all. And of course, well done to Kyle. You are navigating a new system very well. Good DMing.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for participating. I'm going to end the recording now. Oh, I probably should have done that before the stars and wishes, but